Well, we believe in starting on time, so even though we have a very small audience right now, I guess we're competing with some big basketball game tonight. I'm not into athletics, so I don't know what the game is, but this program is live streamed to cozy rooms for those who can't get out. And also it'll be on a YouTube video for people to watch later. So you're speaking to more people than you know. Dr. Pam Haynes has been very generous with her time for us. She was here earlier this year, and here we go again. That's because she holds many hats at Manchester University. She is Assistant Dean of Academic Affairs. She's also head of Study Away, and she's also head of the honors program, which is why she's here tonight with 10 honors students. And when we get to the Q&A part, I'm going to ask whether any males are in the program. Okay. Dr. Haynes has degrees in music from DePauw and Ohio University and the University of Kansas. She's a gifted pianist. You may have heard her playing with the Manchester Symphony Orchestra or some other orchestra. She's taught music at Manchester University, also at an elementary school, and also in some other colleges and universities. We're going to hear about the honors program. We have lots of people to share information with us, and so I'm going to be very brief. But welcome to you, and welcome to all you students.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And you get this. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And just to let you know, when this was planned, I said I'd love to bring a few honors students along. And then what we do in our honors program is oftentimes I'll send out an email invite, or we had a kickoff last week, and so I put out a plea saying, hey, anybody want to come? And these 10 women said, yes, we want to go. And so here they are. But yes, there are men in the honors program as well. There's just none joining us tonight. So thank you for being here. We're going to share a little presentation with you from the slides, and let's just get on our way. Our tagline here, this lean in and lead, is something that I ask all honors students to do. So we will share with you how we go about doing that. And let me know if the microphone, if I'm too close or too far away or what you need to hear. So hopefully, is this okay? More? Is that good? Okay, great. I wasn't sure if, because it's kind of echoey, but that's okay. So you all heard from me. Thank you, Joanne, for that introduction. This is me, my lovely photo, and I've been the honors program director since 2023. So, but before I go on to share more about the program, I wanted each of these students to introduce themselves to you. So I'm going to go ahead and start over. We'll just go down the line here, right here.
My name is Morgan Metroff. I am a senior. My majors are art, pre-art therapy, and visual arts education with a minor in psychology. I'm from Fremont, Indiana, way up north. Anything else? Okay. Obviously, I'm involved in the honors program, and then for like my on-campus job, I go to Manchester Elementary School and I do their aftercare program there. And then I'm also currently student teaching right now.
I'm Hannah Bailey. I'm from Plainfield, Indiana. I am a senior. I'm a psych double major, so I have concentrations in cognitive neuroscience and industrial organization. I recently got into grad school, so that's exciting. I'm a student assistant for the psych department. I'm in choir and handbells. I think that's it.
Hi, I'm Addison Snover. I'm from Huntington, Indiana, and I'm a biology chemistry major and an environmental studies minor. I'm a second year also. Some things I'm involved in are also choir and the honors program, of course. And is that, yeah.
Hello, I am Morgan Pacheski. I'm from LaPorte, Indiana. I am a second-year biology, chemistry double major, and I'm of course involved in the honors program, but also the Pre-Health Professionals Club for aspiring people in healthcare in the future, along with planning the medical practicum, one of the study away programs offered at Manchester, and I'm also a lab assistant as well, so I help in a lab from a chemistry course I've already taken previously. So. Very busy.
I'm Brianna Thomas. I am from Grable, Indiana. I am a biochemistry double major, a sophomore. Some stuff I'm involved in. I'm part of the American Chemical Society, and then I have 4 on-campus jobs. It's Spartan Ambassador, Student Outreach Specialist, a Science Student Peer Mentor, and a lab assistant.
They are all very busy.
Hi, I'm Kenna Talley. I come from Couts, Indiana. I'm a sophomore with a double major in digital media arts and studio art, and I'm involved in the MU honors program, and I also do intramural volleyball.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm a sophomore nursing major, and I have a minor in peace studies. Involved in the honors program. Me and Ken are both on the intramural volleyball team together. I'm in the pre-health professional club and also the Kina Poco Moco club, which is all about peace studies.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Burnett. I'm a freshman from Attica, Indiana, and I'm a social work and psychology double major. I'm involved in, obviously, honors program, but I'm also secretary for Student Senate. I'm involved in STAT, which stands for Students Today, Alumni Tomorrow. I'm a Spartan Ambassador. I regularly attend FCA as well.
And you're also involved in wrestling.
I'm also on the women's wrestling team.
Hi, I'm Aria Musselman. I'm from Denver, Indiana, which is about 30 minutes away from here. I'm a sophomore currently in, what am I majoring in? Elementary education. I'm involved in the honors program and also Manchester Aspiring Educators Club. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a freshman, also from Denver, Indiana, and I'm majoring in psychology with a concentration in cognitive neuroscience. I'm also majoring in peace studies, and I'm majoring in criminology. And I'm involved in the Manchester Symphony Orchestra. I'm in the pet band at the school. I'm also involved in the theater department. I'm obviously in the honors program, and then I'm also in the Kina Poco Moco Club and a handful of other things, but those are the main ones.
So as you can tell, very busy students, and this is very much the norm for honors students that we have here. And so I'll share more about that as we go along, and then they will be involved towards the end with some more Q&A and sharing about some of their the experiences or the benefits that they have drawn from while being in the honors program. So a little honors program history that I just don't have memorized, but I wanted to share with you. So here's past leadership, but let me tell you a little bit about here. I'm just going to read from my notes. On October 14th, 1986, the faculty of Manchester College at the time approved the establishment of an honors program, which offered courses and an honors thesis to honors students. And that was started by a subcommittee chaired by Janina Traxler that is listed up there. And so the honors program was shaped by the following guiding principles. Honors study should, to the extent possible, broaden the students' methods of inquiry, allow students to pursue topics in greater depth than is possible in the regular class, and introduce them to both the interrelatedness of learning and the most fundamental and intriguing material of specific disciplines. And I'm happy to say that is still happening, and you'll hear more about that later on. So honors study should replace simpler material and techniques with more sophisticated content and thinking skills, thus providing enriched alternative study rather than larger and harder assignments to a regular course. That is still happening. Honors study should strengthen the liberal arts education rather than undermine or replace it. That is still happening in the honors program. Honors study should be recognized officially on the student's transcript And recipients of honors should be recognized at commencement, and that is still happening. So there's a lot that has remained from the initial envisioning of what this honors program could look like. There were revisions throughout the years, though, especially with the formation of the undergraduate honors faculty committee, and that's how I became involved. When I started as a full-time music professor in 2016, I was asked to join the committee in 2019. And normally in these groups, as a faculty member, you only remain for 3 years, and then you move on to a different group to be involved in. I begged to stay with this because I loved the honors students. And then, as you can tell now, that even turned into me becoming the current honors director as well. So some of the things that we talked about and formalized during the time before I became the honors director was to formalize the honors thesis process. When the honors program started, every student was required to complete an honors project. Every student was. So if this were still happening today, all of these here would be doing an honors thesis their final year. So that was discussed at length to decide, do we want honors students to be locked in to do that, or do we want to give them other options to pursue? And I will explain more of that later on. And of course that was approved, and so there's several options they can pursue. They're not required to write an honors thesis at the end, but they can if they choose to do that. The other thing that was also revised was a process for awarding a full ride honors scholarship. And this is open to any prospective student who has been admitted to Manchester who has a 3.9 or higher GPA. And so there's a whole process. We have a whole scholarship day that current honor students are involved in to meet with these students, meet with their parents. The students are interviewed, they write essays. We look at their test scores. There's a whole group that looks through. And this year we were able to award not just one full ride scholarship, but 2. And so very happy to do that because these are the only full ride scholarships that Manchester gives. And by full ride, I mean everything is paid for, tuition, housing, and their meal plan as well. So pretty cool. We also give out some other scholarships that bump up the MUA that students receive based on what they're entering GPA is. And so that's the honors program. And a lot of the way the program is functioning now is thanks to Tim McKenna Buchanan. So he's the one that really got things up and going. And so when I took over, I just stepped right into his shoes. And they were pretty big shoes to fill, but by that time, everything was functioning pretty well. And so I'll go on and explain what we do and how we do it. Our mission, the Manchester University Honors Program enhances students' learning, creativity, and leadership through membership in a collaborative and inclusive community. And this is definitely true, and the students will share about that. Some current stats. We have about 150 students involved right now. That number will fluctuate throughout the year. Some students decide that they don't want to keep on in the honors program. We have others that join halfway through the year, but that's the number that we've kind of capped out at for the last couple years, which was a huge jump. When I first came in, I think we had like 70, I think, and so we pretty much doubled with what was there, 80 or so. In the fall, we had 80 honors students convert courses, and so I'll talk about that. Because we don't have honors courses the students take. They will take a course they're enrolled in, and they will convert it to an honors credit course, and I'll explain more of that later on. So that's huge, because faculty members must agree to this, and so I'm so thankful for our faculty and their support of all these students to do more in-depth work. 33 majors, I believe, with all of our students that are involved, many double and triple, as you heard, and numerous minors as well. 12 Honors Leadership Council members, and so 2 of our students here tonight are involved, 3 are involved in that. Yes. They'll tell more about that later on. This year we have 5 students doing honors theses, and so they will defend those sometime in April or May, and you actually are welcome to come and attend those. We open those up to anyone that wants to attend and hear about their research. And then of course me, the one proud honors director right here. So happy to be involved in all this. So values, we value learning, of course, but we want to go beyond that. And with the learning, when I talk to prospective students and parents about our program, we often say we want students to make it their own. And that's why we don't have honors classes, but you're able to convert a course and turn it into your own honors work. We value leadership as well, which is why we have an honors leadership council. And usually we have around 7 to 8 students that are involved in that. And they have a lot of responsibility in things that they do. Because if you think about it, especially with me wearing all my hats, I can't do it all. So it's really their club and their program to do a lot of other things involved. And so you'll see here some things of our students leading our small groups and things like that. Our students also hold leadership roles throughout campus. You'll find many honor students are the president or vice president or trustee on many of our clubs. And so very proud of them doing that. Integrity, very important. So we really take it seriously about being honest and being true to who we say that we are. So we talk a lot about who we are, who we want to be, how we want to be. And that, like I said, leadership is a huge part of that. We talk a lot about being servant leaders. So that's definitely a part of our club as well and our program. Community is huge for us, and not just within the students that are involved. Most of our events that we put on are open to any MU student to attend, because we do not want to be a smart student clique. And that happens so often. And not just with smart students, but it happens any part in life. And I'm sure even here at Timbercrest, there's probably certain groups that are groups, right? And so we really try hard to not be this elite group of students that is better than everybody else, right? So like I said, most of our events are open to others to join in as well, and we love that we can do that. Moving on. I think did I pass service? Oh, there it is. We value service. Every honor student is required to complete 5 service hours every semester. And that can be serving in any way. It doesn't have to be an organized service event. So any of these students could volunteer to come here and serve in some way, and that will count towards that. And so my tagline, or what I tell the students a lot, is I want them to grow into people who see a need and that they just fill it rather than being asked to. And so I don't have to work very hard to ask these students to do that. They come in already wanting to do more and to help out. And so we are very proud of that. We get called on a lot, even by President Stacy and others, to serve in various roles because they know they can count on us. So that's one of my favorite parts about our group. Here's our current Honors Leadership Council. If you are on the Honors Leadership Council, if you could raise your hand. Right there, okay. So Morgan and Kenna are currently our co-social chairs, and so they get to set up all the fun events that we do, and I hope that they will share some about that later on. And then Jocelyn is actually, oh, that's my dog, by the way. He's our, honorary mascot. And then we have our first year reps that are here too. So in the fall, we call out to first year honors students and ask them if they would want to join the HLC, the Honors Leadership Council, to learn about the various roles that we have on there. So we have a professional development chair, a social chair, a service chair, and then a president and a vice president as well. And the president and vice president are actually paid because they do some pretty intense work for me. So they have student jobs that pay for that. And they're both just there to support me and all the other students involved. So Jocelyn is one of our first year reps, and so has been able to shadow some of the other reps, and the first year students are actually going to put on their own event, well, several this spring, right? Two, which is great. And so the reason we do that is because we want to encourage future leadership, and so the first year reps can get a taste of what that is like, and then they can apply for one of the other roles as they move through their time at MU. So advantages of being in the honors program. So again, we join this community. I hope you can see I did with the big MU there, because it's a Manchester University community of academically accomplished students. They get to register in courses before anybody else does, which is wonderful, because if you are a triple major, you have to really figure out how you're going to fit all those classes in there, and that they don't double up at the same time, right? So we are really happy that the university allows us to do that. There's a dedicated honors lounge, and so that's a room in the Chinworth part that's attached to the union that is there. So it's a lounge, and there are comfy chairs in there, whiteboards. There's even a popcorn machine, and so they're able to go in there and relax and study and meet up. Like I talked about, the Honors Leadership Council is open up to any honor student to apply to be interviewed and to hold a position on that. And then there are also leadership and professional development funds, which I want to remind you all of that. If you are doing research or going to a conference or whatever, you can come to me and ask for money to help support you. Yay. And then there's recognition at graduation. And so we'll talk about that as we go along. To be in the honors program, you need to be a full-time student, maintain a cumulative 3.5 GPA, which can be challenging at times, especially if you're in biochem and chem and some of these more, Bree's nodding her challenging courses, but not just for that. Any major can have some very challenging courses and things with that. So if a student happens to fall below a 3.5 GPA, they are not booted out. They come and talk with me, and we talk about how we can make a plan for them to get that GPA to rise back up. Because it's more than just about your GPA, it's about your full experience at MU. And so we want everybody to succeed and thrive. They convert courses for honors credit, 1 per year, and so we'll talk about that as well. And then they're actively involved in the honors program and around the campus as well, community. So there are 3 different honors designations. So like I said, when the honors program first started, everybody was on the same track. They all did an honors project at the end. So now students can choose between one of these 3 tracks. The most involved one is the top one, this honors and achievement track. And so to do this, they are asked to convert 5 courses, separate ones, and then they complete an honors thesis and defend it during their senior year. The honors track, the middle track, is they only are required to convert 4 courses, and so that's just 1 per year. And like I said, I'll explain how they convert a course in just a little bit. And then the achievement track, we often reserve that for students that join the honors program later or might be a transfer student and are only here for maybe 1 year or 2. So they will still convert 1 course per year, but then they can choose to do that honors thesis route. It also happens sometimes with our students who are here 4 years who decide, I don't want to do the full honors and achievement and convert all those courses, but I have a fantastic idea for an honors thesis. And so sometimes we have students choose that route too. So how this works for honors course conversions, any one of these students right now are considering this, okay? And the deadline to convert spring courses is when? February 20th. So there you go, right. And so what they do is they take any course that they're involved in. So when I taught music classes, I will give an example. I would have a student come and approach me during the first few weeks of the semester and ask, Dr. Haynes, I would like to convert this course to honors. Is that something I can do? And I would say, great, let's sit down and talk about it. And so by that time, they would have looked at the syllabus and seen what topics we're going to discuss in class. And so they could approach me and say, I'm really interested in the orchestra and how it functions and all that, Can I do something that involves that? Or they might want to talk about something else, music related. Or I will say to them, I have a great idea for you to do. I think you should take our final project and expand upon it. And so when I taught an intro to music course, the final project was to go to the Manchester Symphony Orchestra concert, the last one that's in May, and then write a 3 to 4 page essay about it. So they would use all the terms we used in class, melody, harmony, pitch, all of that, and describe what they've heard. For honors students, I would suggest things like that. If you are involved in education, like Aria, if she were in my class, I would say, hey, maybe you want to create a guide that you would give to a third grade class if they were going to come on a field trip to come and hear all of these orchestras, these instruments playing. And so on top of just writing the essay to demonstrate that you've learned the concepts from the class, you will then apply it and adapt it to what you are majoring in to turn it into this third grade study guide. So same thing, if I had a student that was involved in finance, business, I said, maybe you want to go and interview the treasurer of this orchestra, which is a nonprofit, and ask them, how do you pay your professionals? How do you earn money to do that? How do you budget to buy music? How does the money flow? How does this work, right? So we ask the students to think about any course they're enrolled in. It doesn't have to be a course that is in their major or minor. It can be any course. And think about how they can expand upon an assignment that's in that class, or if they would like to add a separate assignment in. And so the course conversion is worth 10% of the final grade. And so it used to be that if you didn't complete the honors course conversion, that you would fail the class. And I thought that's a little extreme, because if it's only worth 10% of the final grade, we're not going to do that. So that's one thing that I had changed, was that you don't fail the class, but your final grade is dropped one whole letter grade, which is usually enough for honor students to inspire them to get the work done. So, because nobody wants to be dropped down in an entire grade. So they're going to share, I think a few of them will share about courses that they converted as we go along. So you can see that, these little guidelines that we had there. I should have gone on. I definitely asked them to see if they can explore complex perspectives and try to make their course conversions interdisciplinary, because we believe that's what an honor student should do. And what I hope this does is especially that they might even take a class or a course that they're not really interested in the content. And so by doing the honors conversion can make it so they are interested in it. And so they don't just learn the facts and the content, get an A on the exam, and not remember anything that they've learned, but that it hopefully will cause that content to stay in their minds, right? So they've actually really learned what that course content has and is there. Because honor students, and since I was basically one, we're really good at just memorizing facts and spitting it back out and then forgetting all about it. So this way they can help it to stay there. So they get to work with professors, or get to work with them one-on-one throughout this process, which is really great. So here are the 10 students we have here, and so I'm going to let them talk to you either about an honors conversion that they did, or just an experience, a benefit from being in the honors program, or anything else that kind of ties into the honors program. I'm just going to start with our seniors again.
Again, I'm Morgan Metroff. I was just going to share a little bit about one of the conversions that I did last year. It would have been last fall. I took a TESOL class, which is required for my education program, and it was about how can we as English speakers teach others whose native language is not English. And I had that class with Beata Gilliar, if any of you guys know her. And I wanted to tie in art as well in that class. So I had ended up changing one of those projects and expanding it to make it my own and make it about art. So I had made a pretty extensive book that had every art supply that I could think of, and I found the English word for it, the German word for it, and the Spanish word for it, and I picked all those 3 languages because those are the top languages spoken in Indiana. And then I also had a picture of the art supply, so my hope is to use it in the classroom to show to students, to have visuals, to help students that their first language is English. And then anything else, or just, okay. That's, yeah.
So I'm just going to have them go down the line, and then we'll do a little Q&A at the end.
So I'm Hannah Bailey, once again. I'm going to talk about a conversion I did freshman year for my developmental psychology course with Marcy Coulter-Kern. I looked at how traumatic brain injuries as a child affected serial killers, which was really interesting. So it took concepts from developmental psychology and my neuropsych course, which is taught by Rusty Coulter-Kern, because TBIs can affect people in many different ways, especially at an early age. So I looked at John Wayne Gacy, Night Stalker, I'm blanking on his first name, but Ramirez, and Jeffrey Dahmer, who all suffered from traumatic brain injuries, and how that like kind of affected their personalities, and how they went from like happy kids to suddenly like a 180, and then eventually became serial killers. So it was really interesting.
I'm Addison Snover again, and as I said before, I'm in Manchester's choir. So for one of the like basic core classes that we have to take, I took music and popular culture. So basically for my honors conversion, I took one of the final projects, which was like a video presentation and a research paper. And I basically looked at how like choral arrangements, how they like affected popular culture, since that was what the class was over. So that was what I did for that to make it more relevant to what I'm interested in.
Once again, I'm Morgan Pacheski. I will kind of switch things up and talk about my time on the Honors Leadership Council. As you heard Pam say, I am one of the social co-chairs on the board. So that's one of the more fun jobs, getting to plan all of the fun social events for the honors members. We do various events. One of them we do every single year is a murder mystery party. So we have this website where we find a pack and create a theme and have everybody dress up. It's a really fun time. This past semester we did a casino themed one where we had like a mocktail bar. That was really fun. And another event we're doing is actually tomorrow, which is making charm bracelets, and it's Valentine's Day themed. So a lot of fun things.
I'm Brianna. I was going to bring up more of the community that I get with the honors program. So there's a lot of people in the program that I never would have really talked to or met if I hadn't been part of honors. And especially because when you're a science major, you're so busy and you're really stuck to just science majors. So it was really nice meeting a lot of people, but my favorite thing is with doing my service work. I've got to do a lot of tabling and meeting a lot of students or even oncoming students, and that's one of my favorite things. That's why I have so many jobs to do with meeting students that are interested in Manchester. And so I think it really helps build the community because they see me before they come and then they see me when they're there.
Thank you all so much. They're so prepared. I love it.
Hi, once again, I'm Kenna. I'm going to continue on a little bit about what Morgan was talking about with being the other social co-chair. It's really fun being able to be this sort of person that helps connect all the students on the campus with the events that we plan to make. And it's just really fun getting to work together and plan out all these events. It's been so much fun, and I really, really enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. And with Manchester being a liberal arts school, we take a lot of classes that are outside of our major, which really helps like broaden my perspective on the world and take a lot of classes and meet a lot of new people that I wouldn't take or wouldn't have done without like this type of school. And an honors conversion I'm thinking about is I'm taking an international women's rights course. And so we're learning a lot about like women in other countries and like what they're going through. And I just recently got back from my first ever, but now Manchester's last ever Jan term trip in Nepal, where women's rights are just completely different than what we experience in America. And so I want to tie two of my courses I've recently taken together. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm Jocelyn, a reminder. I'm going to talk about the course conversion I did last semester because it was a really fun one. So I'm a social work major, and I converted my social work course. So what I was able to do is I picked one of the competencies, which is like the things that they have to teach us about. So I picked practice-informed research and research-informed practice. And I was actually able to conduct some interviews of social workers. So I did someone at like the Wabash DCS office. And then I also did someone who works at Josiah White's residential. And then I interviewed my mom because my mom is the director of a women's safe house in my hometown. So I was able to conduct those interviews and then make a whole presentation about how everything works together and how, you know, research works in the real world, as well as how the real world social workers are able to inform that research and like through their practice help in that way. Yeah.
Aria here. So I was going to talk about community as well, but not only community, but how I've been able to like help my community. I learned about fish in the fish, what is it, the pantry? Yes, thank you. In Wabash, and I served there for a couple hours one day, and it brought me back to when I used to do that in Texas with my family, and so I just really enjoyed doing that, and just the different types of activities and events that Manchester and the honors program allows you to do, and just connect with the outside community, outside of the college.
Okay, so I'm Lee. I'm a freshman, so I've only done one course conversion, so I'll talk also a bit about like the community, but like my own personal encounter with it. So I have had an opportunity to meet with and become friends with a lot of people that I probably would definitely not have had I not joined the honors program. Not anything against them, I'm not really a social person like that. But it was great to have a place to meet people and talk to people and get to know everybody, and a lot of people who have similar interests in doing more and helping the community. And I didn't even apply to this school until like 2 weeks before classes started, so I knew nobody getting here. But now I have a good handful of people that I pass on campus, and I'm like, oh, hi, and they say hi back, so that was really nice.
Thank you, Lee, for sharing that. Yeah, so, and it's kind of great to bring this up. A lot of students, you know, when they apply to MU, it's in the fall of their junior year, and then they go ahead and apply to the honors program at the same time. But there are several students who don't even learn about it until later on, or like in Lee's case, are very late to join. But then I'm on there and I see, oh, you can apply to the honors program. You should, and come and join. And so, anyway, thank you all for sharing bits about what you do and how you're involved, and appreciate you so much for just being willing to share with our hosts here. So any questions that you have to any of the students or myself, because we'd be happy to answer the little bit of time we have left.
How does anybody with 3 majors find time to do the extra work?
Good question. So how does anybody with 3 majors find time to do the extra work? And so Lee is somebody with 3 majors, so I'm going to let you answer that question.
It's very difficult. I spend a lot of what would be considered my free time doing my homework. So, I don't know, I have like 5 classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then like the maybe 30 minutes to an hour I get in between those classes. You'll find me in the library, in the Peace Studies Lounge, with my laptop open, typing away at something that's probably due the next day. It's a little bit difficult to stay on top of the work, but it is also very rewarding and definitely very much worth the effort. And it's difficult, but it is possible.
So I'm not triple majoring by all means, but I am a nursing major, and it's a very small program, and our class, like we have clinicals and lab, and sometimes our lab goes for 6 hours. So I was very hesitant adding a minor because I am very involved with the Peace Days community. And so a setback was like, will I even have enough room or will I even be able to fit this on my schedule? And the Peace Studies like coordinators and other professors are like, just do it, add it on, come on, we'll help you out here. So they're definitely willing to help you out. Like, they're just very passionate in what they teach, and they're very supportive. And if all else fails, they will meet with you one-on-one in your free time to help you catch up on any coursework or teach it to you one-on-one. So they've been very helpful and supportive.
I have a question for you. I don't remember your name. But you're in nursing. Does that mean you will have 2 years on campus here to do the honors program? Will you then be in Fort Wayne after that?
No, I'm in North Manchester all 4 years, but some of our clinicals are in the hospital in Fort Wayne, and then some of our lab time is shared on the Fort Wayne campus, just because our labs just don't have the correct materials. Like, I know our maternal and OB, I'll have to drive to the Fort Wayne campus, but besides that, I'll be in North Manchester all 4 years.
I will add to that too. So there are some current nursing majors or ones that have already graduated that were 2 years here and then 2 years in Fort Wayne. They were still able to maintain honors program status because they could still convert a course there. The Fort Wayne faculty was still very much willing to support that. And then we would excuse them from North Manchester events if they just couldn't come, because we wanted them to still have that experience of being here. So, good questions. Any other questions? How do they handle the stress, the students, of being involved with so much? Anybody want to talk about stress management? All right, here's Bree.
I'll definitely say that my freshman year, I didn't handle it well at all. It was a lot. So what kind of pushed me was Pam was like, hey, you need to meet with me. And that was scary. But once I met with Pam, she kind of told me about sources and then also made me feel okay about the fact that I wasn't doing okay. And so then that gave me the courage to actually reach out. And so we have counseling services, but also the thing that helps me is the professors are so lenient. If you just express that, hey, I'm really stressed out this week, could you possibly give me an extra day on an assignment? They are totally willing to do that. And especially if you're double majoring and you have so many things that overlap, they're really willing to work with you, and counseling service is always great too.
I came into Manchester playing a sport, and I played softball. And if you know anything about that program, you had like 3 practices a day, every day, 1 day off a week. It was a lot. And I was like, I didn't know anybody coming in, and my course load was heavy. And eventually, like, once I hit partway through the second year, I was like, okay, I want to go to grad school. Softball won't necessarily get me there. I need to kind of think about, what do I really want after I graduate? Because I wanted to be a student assistant. And so I finally just put my cleats down, joined the student assistant. So I work with the psych faculty like one-on-one. Today I just worked with them on getting courses for next year ready. So it's just, honestly, a lot of it was just prioritizing. What's going to be most helpful for me?
I would also say that having good time management is also really helpful for stress. I would also stress or say that this is important to make sure that you make time to go to honors events, but also just events on campus. As honor students, I know that we always like to spend a lot of time in our rooms studying and doing homework, but helping to battle stress or just feeling overwhelmed sometimes can mean just okay, I know that there's a floor event in my dorm room tonight, and it sounds kind of fun. I just need to make the time and we'll go, and it'll make me feel better. Or hanging out with other honor students sometimes can lift our spirits to battle that stress. So I would say just time management and attending events.
They like to talk about this.
What helps me is obviously time management, but I like to plan things out ahead of time. So I will go through like each syllabus. I will write things down on my calendar. I will plan out what is due, when I have to get it done by, and I will try my hardest to get started on it ahead of time before it's due and I have to turn it in. And I've noticed that really helps me out with like stress and stuff, especially when it comes to like finals week and stuff like that. Definitely getting a head start is what helps me out the most.
I'm going to say something about this just because I am a student athlete right now. Wrestling does take up a lot of time, but at the same time, like, it is a lot about prioritizing your time, but also just knowing like what you have to get done and when. So for me, I was always really busy in high school too, so it wasn't like as big of a transition as you might think. Also, I feel like I have more time now than I even did in high school, so it takes away the driving time, you know, stuff like that, a little easier. But also, I find that I'm more productive in the morning, so I like to get up early and start my homework before classes, and that helps me a lot. Also, just to keep like the stress level low, like always give something in my day, so like there's always some give or take. Like I look forward to my coffee at breakfast, and I look forward to my juice at dinner or something like that, just to keep me like, I know I have something to look forward to today, even though I have all this work to get done.
Another thing that I wanted to bring up too, so there actually is one honors class that maybe not all honor students take, but most do. And so when they come in as a first year student, there's a first year success seminar, and we really work to try to have all the honor students in the same class. And so I'll teach that class. And so all first year students have to take this unless they bring in 30 college credits that they have earned already through like dual credit classes. And some of the things we do in the class are things that these students would already know how to do, such as just skills of how to adapt to being a college student, time management, making a schedule for yourself, how do you study, even how to print something or copy something as well. So we do all kinds of skills, right? Because some students come in and they do not know how to do that, so we want to make sure that they do. In the honors part of it, we also talk about different ways with time management, and also just like I said about really finding a way to balance yourself out and to find a rhythm with while you're a student, and to know that that can change from month to month, week to week, semester. So really learning how to assess yourself and then allowing others to assess you as well and give you insight. And so thank you for bringing that up, Bree, that I tell them all the time, come and see me, stop in and see me if you want to, so that I can help reflect back to them what I'm seeing. So if I see that somebody's stressed, to understand where does that come from, and how to figure out how to cope with that. And also to give counsel and advice to students if they are too involved. Because that is really challenging. I had a student who is teaching this spring, who also performed in the orchestra and also still has to take some other classes. And it was really difficult for him to choose to not be involved in orchestra. And I completely understand that. But I told him, you know, you really want to focus in on your student teaching because it takes up so much. And my first degree is an education degree as well. And I remember it was challenging. I was applying for grad schools while I was student teaching. That was not easy. So just to give some, I wouldn't say it's hard counsel or challenging, but just real, you know, trying to shine a light on what is possible. The other thing is when somebody might be nervous about taking a risk or taking a leap, encourage them, just do it, you know, just give it a try. And that failure is an opportunity to learn. And a lot of times these students don't want to fail, right? I mean, I certainly didn't. If I got a B, I would be in tears. And so just learning that grades aren't everything, but really living a full life is. and that being a student is only a certain part of your life, and so you want to equip yourself for the future. And so learning more about yourself, who you are, what you value, will take you farther than just having these good grades. And so we try to talk a lot about that often, one-on-one and in groups and all of that. And so, but a lot of them come in very mature and very willing to do whatever it takes to succeed, but also to live and live in a very full way. Other questions, comments? I think we're about at time, but if somebody else has a question, I'm happy to entertain it. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being here, and anybody that's going to watch this online as well. We were just so happy to come and join you. And please reach out if you need us to come and serve you in some way. We are always looking for service events, and they're all nodding their heads. So thank you so much. Thank you, students, so much for being here. We are so happy that you could share. Wonderful. All right. And then I'm going to ask if somebody could take our photo before we leave.